All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sidetrack Sunday. Can anybody hear me? One, two, three. Can you hear me? Five times percent. Audio is good. Very good. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go through. Well, first of all, what we're going to talk about tonight is Lionel Bump-and-Go cars or units, accessories, whatever. Let me welcome everyone in here. We'll start at the top. So we have Thomas Grassi. Welcome. I have something to show you later. Rail Artists, Schuylkill River Valley, Curly Express, Schuylkill River Valley, Mason Dixon, welcome. Ray Bobel, thank you for being here. Chuck Schreiber, Curly. Joe Rader, Black Rock Central. Rail Artist, we said Rail Artist. Anthony Dodge, the Model Train Outsider, welcome. Rail Artist, Chuck Schreiber, Anthony Dodge. Steve 87, Peace App. And I'm at the bottom of the list. All right, very good. So, yes, thank you all for being here. So we're going to talk about the Lionel motorized bump and go units. And I'll explain what they are, which ones, tell you a little bit about them. And then I have one here I can run for you, show them, and give you a quick idea of how it works. I'm not going to take the whole thing apart, but I can give you a quick idea. So basically, Lionel started here. I'll show you one right here. This is a bump and go. And it's a bump and go because it hits the end of the track or hits a bumper and then goes the other direction. So I'll show you a little bit more about that later. So basically, Lionel made 4 different models of bump and go. They started making them in 1954, and all 4 of the bump and goes are, they're motorized themselves. They run on themselves. And there is I started to show you that there's a sliding plate in the bottom of the car that slides back and forth, and there's a contact plate which, as it switches position, then it changes the position of the motor. Bob, PK&W, welcome. Thanks for being here. So let's see here. We'll start with the 50 gang cars right here. That's what this is. Let me get the keyboard out of the way. Hopefully we will not need that. So that's what the 50 gang car looks like, and there are a couple different variations of it. Most commonly orange. I haven't seen these in any color but orange. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variations of this. And I guess variation A has a horn in the middle, and it has the fixed crew were olive, and it had a blue guy. This guy moves back and forth here. Let me get you in. Sorry about that, folks. There you go. I'll give you a more detailed picture of this. Yeah, orange is the best color anyway. That variation B, same as A, except it had blue bumpers. The bumpers on the end here. Variation C had a centered 2-piece horn, and the fixed crew are blue, and the rotating crewman is olive. Variation D, like this one here, has the horn off to the side, and he has the fixed crew are blue, and the rotating guy is olive, and of course has blue bumpers. Variation E is the same, except for it had a the bumpers. This I'll show this bigger picture, but anyhow, the bumpers were the other way around. What exactly is a gang car? I guess it's kind of a maintenance car. Yeah, we'll look at these closer. I mean, a gang car. I guess that would be some kind of a maintenance car. That's just what Lionel called it, so that's what it is. So that's the gang car, number 50. Okay, number 50 is not always printed on the car. It has a center pickup in the middle here. And the problem is around switches and specialty track or something, you might lose contact. So in other words, if you go too slow over a switch and you don't get connection on there, then it's not going to work. So these were first manufactured in 1954. So the next car was the number 52 firefighting car. There isn't a whole lot on this. Good evening, Georgia Sunbelt. Thanks for joining us. Oops, wrong one. Nope, that one. Go to click on something and somebody else puts in the chat. So the firefighting car. There wasn't a whole lot of information on this. It was first manufactured in 1958. There was a 1959 version, and I thought it said there were later versions, and they put a light in it, and the flashing light would get hot and sometimes melt the plastic on the car. Yeah, that's easy. That's easy to figure out, Bob. Okay, the firefighting car. So then the next one is the Lionelville trolley. I like this one. So there are 4 or 5 variations on this. It was first produced in 1955. I don't understand this. We'll look at the website. So they said it was available for 4 years, but they said the production ended in 1956. So I don't know if they just manufactured a ton of them and they just kept selling them until they ran out. I don't know. They had a problem with the light bulbs in the trolley where they would, the light bulb would get too hot, or it's possibly the motor, and it would melt the inside. So originally they had like a silver coating on the light bulb in there. And then the second year that they started making them, they actually put like a foil or piece of, like, looks like a piece of foil on the inside of it anyhow. So yeah. And then the Sparky 107s here, welcome. And the later versions, yeah, had the foil in there. And then the last version actually had roof vents in it. Yeah, later vents were added to the roof. There were 5 different versions of it. So version A was the earliest, had black lettering with Motorman silhouettes and no roof vents. Version B, same as A, except for no silhouettes. Version C is the most common. It had blue lettering instead of black lettering and had 2-piece spring bumpers, and I'll show you those. And of course, no vents. And Grandpa Rails, welcome. Version D, same as C, except a solid 1-piece bumper, and I'll show you those later. So version E was the one they had the roof vents are clerestory roof vents. I've never heard that word before. It's oyster stuffing. Oh, okay. Clerestory roof vents. That was the 1956 production. So that is the Lionelville trolley. And then there is the motorized maintenance unit from 1960 to 1963. And again, that had 1 center pickup like the gang car. And if it wasn't going fast enough, it would stop over a switch. There's a sign on there, and the sign changes well, I'll show you. The sign changes direction when it hits something and goes backwards. So there's the gang car, and you can see at the top the little red sign. That'll flip from one direction to the other when it reverses. So the maintenance car was produced from 1960 to 1963. Did I show that one already? I did. Okay. Forget that. And okay, we'll get to that. Okay, so let me remove that. Go to the big camera. Let me get a better focus on this. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the clarification on that, Bob. I've never heard of that word, clerestory roofs, whatever. So let me get back to my notes here. Yeah, the number 50 gang car. So the orange, and you can see lettering here. So it didn't always have the number 50 on it. Some of them did not have the number 50. And this one here has the horn on the side. So that would make that variation D. This one has a horn in the middle. So that makes that variation A. Yeah, the original one. And oh no, the original A had gray bumpers instead of blue bumpers. So I was telling you, yeah, the variation E had inverted bumpers, and what I mean by that is this here was like flipped around upside down the other way. So then you put this rubber bumper up there. So that's how that would go on there. Did I pay $5 for that? I paid $10. Well, I paid $10 for this one. Okay. This one I think I paid $20 for. Not quite the deal. Because I always pay $5 for things, right? So yeah, those are the differences, and I'll show you. You know, like I said, these go. It'll hit a bumper. Well, I'll show you that later. So I'm not gonna get into taking apart too much, but I'll show you basically what's in here so you have an idea of how these work. I was going to do this as a repair on the Sidetrack Sunday, and I thought, you know what, that's just going to take up too much time, and I'm not going to get through it. So as you can see in here, that slides back and forth, and throw that on the floor. And then there's two contacts here, a little contact plate, and then there's a contact underneath that. So that slides back and forth, and that connects to the motor. So depending on which one it contacts will change direction on the motor. Simple enough. And I can show you that real quick without taking it apart too much. In other words, I can take it apart without losing parts and having it fall on the floor. So as you can see, or can you see? Sorry, there's a shadow there. Okay, so you see this, there we go. There's two little dots there. Those are the contacts. So depending on where, well, if I try and move that, I'm going to break a wire. There you go, right there. There's the contact, which hits these two plates there. Just to give you an idea in case, you know, you need to work on one of these, you take it apart. I believe Ray, was this part of the Lionel stuff you were fixing, Ray? Was it a bump and go, or did you just have some locomotives? And then the brushes are under here. I think I can safely take that apart. Bump and go is a trolley. Okay, Ray, I'll show you that. And these all kind of work the same. So in case you haven't started on it, hey, Mark Jordan's in the house. Thanks for joining, Mike Jordan. So I don't know if you took yours apart or not, Ray. So there's the brushes are right here, okay, and they fit in there. And then here's your motor. I did clean this, and I was running it. So actually, what's on there is not that terrible. It works just fine. So that's basically your motor, and this comes out here, and that's kind of all there is to these. There's a little, be careful, there's a bushing in there, a plastic bushing, and then there's a bearing on that shaft with like a washer on the top and the bottom. So if you do take one of these apart, don't lose that bearing or the metal bushing. So, and then this kind of goes on there. If I can do this, there we go. Perfect. Perfect. There we go. So like I said, the reason I did not attempt to do a repair on this on the live stream is because I take these apart, and actually down inside here, I mean, this is from 1956, and there's all kind of junk. And actually what I do is I take these and I will take them over to the sink, and I'll scrub them, and with water and Awesome Orange. I use Awesome Orange on there, And then I take it out to the garage and I hit it with the air compressor to get all the water out. And I make sure it's good and dry before I put them back together. So to do this, on a live stream like that would kind of be Mark, whatever your name is. Okay. So as I was saying, there's this gear here, and this slides back and forth, and every single one of these operates pretty much the same. Well, they do, all 4 models that I was talking about do operate the same with this sliding plate here and the contacts. And then see, like this guy here, if I keep it on the camera, there's a little gear there, and that gear is attached to this guy. And like I was saying, the other maintenance car had the sign on the top that would flip. And the trolley has the pantograph flips back and forth. So just get that kind of lined up, put that in there, and that's how that goes together. So these are relatively simple, but if you get one of these and you got to clean it, or you want to repair it, there's usually a lot of gunk in there. I mean, these things are 70 years old, so. Bangor and Northern Railway, welcome. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's basically the gang car. And I'll show you the trolley. Let me get my notes here. Okay. So this guy here has the blue lettering and the silhouettes. And it says 2-piece bumpers. So this is version C or D. Now, what it said in there in those notes about being a 1-piece or 2-piece bumper, I don't know what that means. This is like a spring that goes in there and clips in. So I don't know if that means it's a 1-piece or a 2-piece bumper. I don't know. And see, this one here has 2 pickup rollers in the middle, unlike this one that just has 1 right there. Okay. So that's the difference with the trolley. And I'm going to tell you a note about these trolleys, just because they're heavy and I don't know why they're balanced. I've had these, if you get them going too fast, they'll hit the bump and then they'll bounce off the track. So you got to kind of be careful with these as far as how fast they're going. Well, you got to mess with it and see. And so, like I said, the inside of these, I'm not going to take this guy apart. The inside of these are the same. All of these are the same inside, except for, I guess, the length of it in there is probably a little bit different. And like I said, this guy rotates around. This one here, the pantograph, will flop around depending on which direction it's going. Okay, yeah, this one's blue. This is version C or D, I don't know. But it doesn't have the roof fence, which would be cool if I found one of those. Now, I think I paid $30 for this Sparky. Not 5, but 30. Let me get a drink of water here. I had some soup today, some of that Campbell's Chunky soup. And I wanted to put, I put some Tabasco in it because I put Tabasco in everything. And darn it, that gave me the jitters and the shakes. And I was a mess. And it's still talking to me with the shakiness. That'll teach me to put Tabasco in my soup. But, okay, so I don't have the other two. What was that? The maintenance car and the fire car. Eventually I'll find them. That's cool. You know what, Bob? You're probably right. The salt's probably what did it. Yeah, I do. You know what, Bob? The salt was probably the worst of it. And that's why my ears are ringing. Yep. Okay. So that's basically the maintenance cars for them. Let me wanted to share screen, right? Share screen. Screen 2. Allow. I had the stage. Okay. So this is a website that I recommend. This is a great website for Lionel. And you see on the left here, it says identify Lionel post-war. So, this is my go-to website for anything post-war Lionel. And by the way, post-war Lionel is anything from 1945 after the war until 1969. And then after 1969 or starting at 1970, I guess they call it a modern era, when Lionel was sold to General Mills. So 2 questions. So post-war is after the war. They did not produce any trains during the war. What did Lionel produce for the war? And I kind of lied there. They did produce trains, kind of, but what did they make the trains out of? Okay, yes. So if you filament tires. So yeah, here's all the list of the Lionel stuff. Small motorized units, and it's showing the gang car. Again, I don't know why it's called a gang car. With the automatic reversing feature, they would only run in one direction. So what's interesting, and I'll show you, get my mouse back over here. So yeah, here's a bunch of other little motorized units that are kind of cool. Is this the snow plow? The ballast tamper right there. Okay, here's the other ones. Where is this one here? The hand car. So this guy, believe it or not, only went one direction. And I mean, you could turn it around, but this is not a bump and go like you would think. But it's a pretty cool little one. Forgetting what. There's a snow plow. Every time I see this, people want like crazy money for these, like $200. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Maybe $30 or $40 or something if I find one, but they're pretty cool. So we got a Lionel produced ammo feed belts for B-26, B-24, and B-19 bombers during the war. Okay, cool. Actually, what I was referring to, Joe, was they manufactured compasses for the war, was one of the things. And I guess, ammo feed belts, I think I have heard that before. I saw Picatinny Arsenal on the list where my old man worked after World War II. Okay, cool. So I'm not going to, get the mouse on the right page here. So let me see if there's anything else in here that's interesting. There we go. That is a motorized unit, I believe. Crane car. Huh. And a track cleaning car. I do have this, but that's not part of the bump and go. I do have this. Boy, it makes a heck of a sound. It makes more noise than a Varney, right? But it does actually clean the track. The little pad at the bottom there spins around, and then you stick something in here to clean the track. B-17 bombers. Okay. I believe you. Got 2 screens here. Get my mouse on the right screen. So yeah, so that's all. Those are the small motorized units. And again, if you want to go to look at anything else post-war Lionel, your locomotives there. What's that one? A 773 turbine. So we could spend days talking about Lionel post-war and so forth. So was that all I wanted to show you on that? I do believe so. My father proudly redesigned the Claymore mine for improved lethality. Huh. Okay. Very good. So what am I going to do? So I don't know how exciting this is, if you've ever seen a bump and go in action or not. Sorry about that. Close your eyes for a minute or a second here. Oh, for crying out loud. Come on. Focus. I focus this, and this camera's just kind of hanging up here. So, I let go of it, then it's out of focus. Anthony, no, David. Was your dad named Clay? Oh, Claymore Mines. Okay. Kyle. Who's Kyle? Did I miss Kyle? Kyle Stevens. Okay, I did miss you. Welcome. Very good. Okay. So we'll get the most dangerous Lionel power supply that I could find here. Generally, what you do is the center rail is actually what's called the hot rail. I think I talked about this once before about how, there's not really a plus and a minus. It's AC. So there is, I guess, on your outlet, there's a hot and a neutral, or a hot and a ground. And that's the way it is here. And on your power supply, the U is the common, which would go on the outside track, and the A or B would go to the middle. And where that would matter is in if you have different accessories and things, because you've got to make sure that they're all connected the same in case one goes over a switch, or you switch things around, or you're using accessories. And what happened to my Markland, I believe, is also AC. And so I don't know how they're wired, how the power supplies work on that, but on the Lionel stuff, you have a U as a common. So, oh, great, I left that plugged in. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, see, that didn't hit. Okay, you get the idea, in case you've never seen a bump and go. And that's what I was saying. If it's not going fast enough, this thing is not going to slide. So you got to get it going fast enough so that it slides and bumps. But then again, the trolley, if you have the trolley on there and you hit it too fast, it's going to derail. Yeah, that's about the same as, for these Lionels. That's kind of how that works, okay? So I made this little test track just for Sidetrack Sunday. Is the slide lubricated? Yes, and I wanted to talk about that. I put this back together and forgot to show you. So we could probably debate this all night long. So we have white lithium grease and the ever popular Super Lube. For these Lionels, for some reason, I like the lithium grease. It seems to be a little more stickier and stay in place. The Super Lube is good for the smaller engines like the HOs, because it seems like it's a little bit softer, a little bit lighter. What happened to my mouse there? You blew my concentration, man. Okay, yeah, so lithium grease or Super Lube. I don't know. I mean, some people use Vaseline, whatever. If anybody has any comments, but whatever. I still have an HO version that I had as a kid, an HO version of a trolley or a gang car. Adam Cruz is here. All right. Thanks for coming in, Adam. Okay. So I guess originally the purpose for having the third rail was for turnouts and accessories and so forth. So that was Lionel's big the gang car. Okay, cool. So that was Lionel's big invention there of the gang car. So let me disconnect this here because you saw enough of that. So I would recommend if you're going to do a layout with a bump and go, make sure that you have this like as long as possible, because as you could tell from just a minute of listening to this, it can kind of make you crazy. This thing bumping. So it's going to take, I think 5 revolutions back and forth and before it makes you crazy. So, make sure you have a lengthy piece of bump and go track. Let me unplug the dangerous transformer here and get this out of the way. So again, I made up this bump and go track here just for this layout. And I also 3D printed these bumpers here. I designed these and they're on my Thingiverse. I forgot to put the link there. And I have a set of these up on my layout. So that's what so I made that 3D printed and it's on there. You know what? I should have left that plugged in. Let me get a drink again. What's my favorite grease for this purpose? For this purpose, the lithium grease. Right. Well, okay. Reversing loops also. Yes, that's correct. Well, you know what? I don't need to plug this in. So I was showing you there's a cricket in here that's got to be like this big. I'm watching them across the floor. So you're going to hear the crickets soon. So there were 4 Lionel motorized bump and go cars. And the hand car or the Gandy Dancer is not bump and go. However, I was at where did I get this at? The one up there in Connecticut, Amherst. Yeah, so I bought this. This is an MTH. That is a more modern type of car. And this here, let's see, get that in here. You know what? Now, I don't know what the deal is that they put these things on the side like that. And here's the switch. And I think that's just like a momentary button type switch in there. And, so that'll go and hit. So that is the reason I made these bumpers here. Yeah, you can see the bumper has a, not an indent, but an outdent or a bump right there. So that when this goes on here, it'll actually, go in there and hit that switch and then reverse. So I haven't taken this guy apart. I don't know how it reverses. I'm not taking it apart. It works. So that's an MTH bump and go. I got that at Amherst. I did not pay $5 for it, sadly. I think I paid $25 for it. He had $30 on it, I think. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that guy. What else was I going to talk about? I had a list of stuff here to talk about. So also on the track here, so this, they call it buffer, I guess. I don't know. You tell me. You can use that with 027 or standard O is what they call it. So let's see if we can show that correctly enough here. So the one on the right here is 027 and the one on the left is standard O. And you could tell there's a height difference on there. And originally this was called 027 because it came with 27-inch diameter curves. So that's what originally they made. And then you get the standard O, which comes in I guess it starts at 31-inch diameter, 42, 72, 60. I forget what else. So I don't know if anybody, we could probably look up a chart here, but I don't know. I mean, there's probably a dozen different sizes or radius or diameter curves for the standard O gauge track. Now, Ray was having a thing, I think, with this track, and I got boxes of it. Well, I have some over there, and I've been every once in a while I go through my box of track, and I'm like, you know what? I just got to throw some of this out because it's not worth fixing. And like I tried to replace some of these rails. Some of them, am I missing chat here? No, that's it. Okay, nobody else put a chat in. If you have rusty track, one thing that you can do is use put it in vinegar, and you could put it in a plastic container and soak it in vinegar overnight, or you could just put it in a Ziploc bag and soak it in vinegar overnight. That will work. Also, you can there's a stuff out there called evaporust that I guess works similarly, that you can soak your stuff in and that'll dissolve the rust. Let me see. There we go. Yes. So Ray was also talking about the scrubbies. He had a name for those, and I forget what it was, but basically the kitchen scrubbies, and those are good for cleaning that track, depending on how bad it is. I've had some pieces that I really wanted to clean. I took out on the bench grinder, the wire wheel out there in the garage. So yeah. Eugene Clace, Brunswick train fan farm. Where'd it go? Hold on. Eugene Clace, Brunswick train fan farm lover videos. All right, great. Welcome, Eugene. That's a new name. So welcome. And we're talking about Lionel Bump-and-Go trains and other stuff train related. And my mouse, come on. Yeah, scouring pads, I call them scrubbies. I don't know. They could be whatever. But yeah, basically, in case you don't know, that's what we were talking about. There's some people really have something against the third rail because it's unrealistic or whatever. I don't know. It's Lionel. That's what it is. I think was it Gargraves or something that paints the center rail black so you can't really see it. I don't really care. I know it's a toy. You don't need. I'm not trying to make a realistic movie or anything like that, or trying to make something realistic. So I mean, I like my Lionel just because. Welcome, Bernard C. If you go to buy them, it's called Scotch Brite. Yeah, I guess that's originally what they were called, was Scotch Brites. And then I guess you can get the cheap dollar store brand that are whatever they're called. What were we talking about? Track cleaning, scrubbies, vinegar, vapor rust. So I kind of went through that faster than I thought. I have a track cleaning stick that I mainly use for my HO because it reaches around the back and everything. And I 3D printed this guy here. And as you can see, attached to my stick. And then these little orange pads. There's Velcro on here. I Velcro that on there. And then I can reach all over my track. I put a little bit of alcohol on there. And then I can clean my track. It also does work for my O gauge. How about that? So, yeah, one of my fun things. Um, Hold on. I did go through the Lionel stuff pretty quick. I had some notes here, some other things to talk about. And I already did that one. Yes, I have notes here. So that's the Lionel Bump-and-Go. Oh, these guys here, track connectors. They don't fit on the standard gate. They must have a different connector for the standard. I ended up actually soldering wires to my track upstairs. And then here on this one, I found that if I file a little notch in the middle rail, filed a little notch in there, and then filed the bottom of it flat, so it's just on there flat, then these guys will go on there. I don't know if anybody's had any problems or experience, or maybe somebody can tell me I'm using the wrong connectors. I don't know. One other thing here. Thomas Grassi. Well, first of all, yeah, this was I was very excited to get this McDonald's house in a box of trains over there, and I was missing the air conditioner that goes on the roof. And then as I kept going through the box there, and I pulled out a train to repair that was in the box, and I found the air conditioner unit. I'm excited. So I'll go ahead and put that on there, but I guess I can also, copy the dimensions and everything and make a 3D printable file for that. So I'm kind of excited that I found that. So this, so Floyd sent me an email telling me this is a pretty rare McDonald's, one of the first ones. So I didn't realize that. However, whoever built this was a little too generous with the glue. So I was trying to figure out a way to clean the glue off of it. And I was kind of using the fiberglass brush, trying to get some of the glue off, and it's kind of working slowly. We'll see. Yes, I was pulled out a train to work on that was in the box, and something was rattling around in the box, and I was like, hey, there's the air conditioner I was looking for. Very cool. So yeah, I've got some work to do on this. You're saying this is a lifelike. Okay, I did not know that. You know what? Floyd did send me an email on that, and I looked it up. Let me see something. Hold on, I'm gonna. Oh, it is a lifelike. Okay. Yeah, it's a lifelike. Sorry, I kind of went out. So that was on something else. It doesn't tell me what year it was made, but yeah, that's a collectible, kind of a collectible thing. I don't know. So yeah, thank you, Floyd, for sending me the tip on that. Yeah, I went and washed this, and like over here, it had red lines on it. I ended up washing the red off of there, and so then I started with a Sharpie, a red Sharpie, and kind of put the lines back on it. So, so that's a project there. Oh, no, I lost it again. Good thing it's in the bag. Yeah, they look like, yeah, those are yellow. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to glue those on there. Very carefully, I guess. Yeah, and there's an extra trash can and part of the seats. Yeah, I guess the guy built this and he put these seats, so there's another section of seating that's supposed to go on there, but it won't fit because he put these tables too close to to the building, so you can't get the other seat on there. So. Oh, okay. That's interesting, Martin. What would they care, right? They're still selling hamburgers, right? Not like it took anything away from them. I don't know why companies get that way. I thought I had more, or I thought that would take longer, but we kind of went through that really quick. The other thing, I asked a question during the war. Lionel actually did make trains, but they made them out of something else. They weren't allowed to make them out of metal, but they made cardboard trains. So you could get like a cardboard kit that you cut out and you made a cardboard train. So that's another useless fact, that something that they made during the war, other than ammo belts. Wow, went through that right quick. So, what was the other thing here? I had the stage. So, Ray's Timonium meet and greet. I plan to be there. That's 2 weeks away. Anything could happen, good or bad. I don't know. So, the plan is to meet at the Timonium Grayscale Model Train Show, the Timonium Fairgrounds. Okay. Yes, and Ray put a thing here for the form to fill out to let him know if you're going to be there and if you plan on eating or what's going on. So check out Ray's, click on Ray's form there and fill it out. So yeah, he said about 11, so somewhere between 11 and 11:30, meet at the northwest portal between Central and North Hall in the back near the food area, is what he said. I think I know where that is. And then Joe Rader, Black Rock Central. I guess he's planning on having people from 2 to 4 at his house. I would like to see that. I hear Joe Rader's got a pretty impressive layout, so I would definitely like to get there to see that. And Ray was saying he's going to get food about 5:30, something like that, and then he's going to throw everybody out. No, I guess it's Sunday night, so, or no, that would be Saturday night okay. So I guess when everybody gets tired, then I guess that's how late it'll go or whatever. So that's Saturday at Rainbow Bells and Joe Rader's, and then Sunday meet at the Baltimore Streetcar Museum. I don't know where that is. I will not be able to be there on Sunday. I'll be there on Saturday, but not Sunday. So I'm not sure where the Baltimore Streetcar Museum is. Okay, Ray says, yep, 5:30, food at my place. Okay. If I get ambitious and things are going well and I'm on schedule, I told him maybe I'll make a crock pot full of chili or something. Make it real easy in the Instapot or something. So that is the Timonium meet and greet. Jose has a masterpiece. Don't miss it. Okay. That's what I hear. See you in 2 weeks. All right. Very good. That's Timonium meet and greet. You got 22 people. That's very good. Now, I think I screwed this up, Ray and John. So next week is Bob from PKW, I believe. And then the 26th. So that would be after the meet and greet, after the Railroad Museum. And then I guess we're looking at November. John, number 2 at Schuylkill River Valley is supposed to be the first weekend. And I will be doing November 9th or November 16th. I don't know. What are my plans for my layout? Well, that's kind of the sad thing, sort of. I kind of ran out of space to add things. I have a couple of houses that I wanted to add, and I just don't have the space for them. That McDonald's, I may take out. I think there's like a little bakery or some kind of restaurant in there that's kind of a cheap house, so I might take that out and put the McDonald's in there on Main Street in the back row. I don't know what else. I keep looking at it. Every once in a while, I find something to say, well, I'm going to move this over here and change this or whatever. I really need to take the whole thing and start over with the layout, because I originally planned on making the first level sit on top of the second level with a bunch of support underneath it. Like I was going to put some like a round type of wall in the middle of the O gauge, and then have the HO sit on top of that and give it support. So I used like a 1/4-inch piece of wood on the top, and it's actually kind of sagging a little bit. And then what happens is the track isn't level because of that. And really the only way to fix it is to somehow slide another piece of wood underneath it, or I was thinking of making a metal frame or something like that to set the whole thing on. So yeah. So Thomas Grossi says, what I need to do is make a 3rd level. Oh man. Well, that would be kind of hard to get to everything. And I think I mentioned that I may take the layout and put it on the other wall and make like an L shape, so then I can have a little bit more space for it. I don't know. That McDonald's is from back when burgers were 15 cents and cheeseburgers were 19 cents. Can you believe that? I vaguely remember that. And a Big Mac was $1 or something. Or basically you can get it for $1, you can go and get a whole lunch. That's crazy. And then when were cheeseburgers 39 cents? I guess, was that in the 70s or something? Because then they would, every once in a while, I don't know if they still do it, but they would have 39-cent hamburgers, just like the old days. People would order like 100 hamburgers or something. Thomas Grossi recommends a 3rd level. He's got more than 3 levels, I think. He's got a lot going on there. So I need to get back to one more thing before I go. I need to get back to the incline project, and the reason I haven't gotten back to it is I need I was going to do an unpackaging here, and just didn't. The electrical connectors for this. So basically, oh my. Not this, not this. So I need a box to put in the reversing relay in the Arduino, and then the bulkhead, the power connector on this. So I had to order these guys here, the power connectors, to go on there and put power. So what I'm going to do, we're still on the, yeah, okay. I was thinking about making a box here with the power supply in it, and I thought, no, that's a bad idea. What I'll do is I'll make it so that is a separate power supply. If I have it around here, I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. But I'll make a separate power supply that can plug in, and then I need to put the Arduino and the reversing relays. Basically, that's the reversing relays that are going to go in there. Anybody have any thoughts or opinion about using a wooden box to put electronics in? I didn't know what to do. I mean, other than 3D print a plastic one, I don't know. So I need to start on that. Back to the McDonald's we were talking about. Yeah, this is interesting because these are more rounded, and you can see these. What do you call that? More of an oval shape on there. So this is like the original style. But the arches ran on either side of the structure on the original McDonald's, like the ones still standing in Downey, California. Yeah, right, like this here. This is more like the original one. Wood box should be fine. Thank you very much for that confirmation, Ray. I mean, I think it would. I mean, I didn't think it's because I'm making this for somebody else, so I don't want it to burn down this house, but you know, that should be fine. This actually, I got this from the dollar store, so it's already built for me. And then I'll cut a piece. I may even cut a piece of plexiglass for the top because the plexiglass cuts nice. And what you can do with plexiglass is like sand it with a sander, so then you can't see through it, and then you can spray paint it, and the spray paint will stick to it. So I might do that. And then what I'll do is make something on the inside edges of this to hold it in. Not this, okay, that's gigantic, but to give you an idea, maybe something like that to go in there to hold the top of the box on. And then I could put the speed control on the top, and I could put the speed control on the top and probably a power switch. So I guess I could just simply design one of these smaller. Actually, just print this a smaller size. Well, I don't know how permanent. Like I said, I'm building this for somebody. So yeah, I'm going to permanently put the relays and the Arduino in the box and send it to him, and whatever he does with it, you know, that's his thing. And I'll give him like a 6 or 8 foot cord to connect this to the incline project. Over-engineered cardboard boxes. I don't know if that's supposed to be funny. It was kind of funny to me. Over-engineered cardboard boxes. Okay. So hopefully I'll get back to this incline. And I guess, yeah, like I said, I need to make the box. And I got my power connector. I think what I'm going to do, do I have any of those around here? Some of those Phoenix style connectors with the screw downs. Well, here, see these type of screw down terminals here? So what I do is I put like, 4 pins next to each other, solder a wire to it, and then, make them all common. So then it's like a bus wire. So you can just screw in the wires for, you need power for the Arduino, you need power for these relays, you need power for the speed control on the inclines themselves. So, well, when I get to it, I'll show you. So that's cool. So it is 8:57. I had almost an hour's worth of stuff, and I opened up a package in less than 2 hours. Unlike somebody we know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So next week is Bob at PK&W. Yeah, get to work on this guy. I'll just set that over there for now. I guess that's all I have. And in case you missed the, here, I like this. In case you missed the cartoon, there we go. I got told one. Okay, anybody have any last minute comments for Ray or Bob? Okay, Steve, thanks for joining. And we'll see, what do we say? We'll see Bob next week, and then the week after that, John number 2. And I guess John number 2's got 2 in a row because he missed last week. He had computer problems or camera problems or something. So, oh, goodness. So, I can't talk. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. I had a great time. We learned a little about bump and go trolleys and action cars and so forth. So hopefully I'll get back to making some other videos. All right, thanks again, Thomas Grassi, and everyone else that was here. And I guess I'll catch you probably the 2nd or 3rd week of November. All right, peace. Thanks. End stream. Always a history lesson from Dave. Sometimes.